In the heart of western Colorado lies Mesa County, a place known for its sweeping landscapes and tight-knit communities. Here, Tina Peters served as the county clerk, a position of trust and responsibility. As the official charged with overseeing local elections, Peters was expected to be a guardian of democracy, ensuring that every vote was counted fairly and securely. For years, she was seen as a diligent public servant, quietly managing the complex machinery of elections and upholding the public's faith in the process. Her job was more than just paperwork. It was about protecting the very foundation of democracy. The role of a county clerk is designed to be nonpartisan, focused on accuracy, transparency, and fairness. Peters worked alongside election workers, monitored procedures, and helped ensure that every eligible citizen could cast their ballot without interference or doubt. But the 2020 presidential election changed everything. As the nation watched results come in, a wave of suspicion and uncertainty swept across the country. Headlines questioned the security of voting systems, and citizens everywhere debated the legitimacy of the outcome. In this charged atmosphere, Tina Peters found herself at the center of a growing storm. Once a quiet administrator, Peters began to echo claims of widespread election fraud. She stepped into the spotlight, speaking at rallies and public meetings, and aligning herself with activists who questioned the integrity of the vote. Her transformation was dramatic. She became a vocal figure in a national debate, drawing both passionate supporters and fierce critics. This new role put her in direct conflict with Colorado state officials and the very laws she had sworn to uphold. Investigations were launched, legal battles ensued, and Peters faced mounting pressure from all sides. The controversy grew, drawing national attention and sparking heated debates about the responsibilities of public officials. Ultimately, her journey led her from respected local official to convicted felon. The courtroom became a stage for the nation's anxieties, and the community she once served became deeply divided. Peters' story became a symbol of the fractures running through American society, where trust in institutions is increasingly fragile. The Tina Peters story is about more than just one person or one county. It's a cautionary tale about trust, truth, and the future of our democracy. A reminder that the choices of individuals can have far-reaching consequences for us all. The case against Tina Peters, the Mesa County clerk, centers on a significant security breach that occurred during what was supposed to be a routine software update for Mesa County's Dominion voting machines in May 2021. This update was part of regular maintenance to ensure the machines were secure and functioning properly for upcoming elections. However, what unfolded during this process would have far-reaching consequences, not just for Mesa County, but for election security across the nation. Instead of following strict security protocols, Peters allowed an unauthorized outsider, former professional surfer Conan Hayes, into the highly restricted secure room. Hayes was able to enter by using another employee's credentials, bypassing the safeguards designed to protect the voting equipment and sensitive information. Once inside, Hayes secretly copied the voting system's hard drives, capturing not only sensitive election data, but also critical passwords and security configurations. This covert operation was carried out without the knowledge or approval of state election officials, and it represented a serious breach of trust and security. Peters and her deputy, Belinda Nisley, allegedly assisted in this effort. They claimed their actions were motivated by a desire to uncover evidence of potential election fraud, but their methods violated established procedures and put the entire election process at risk. Their decision to bypass security measures raised serious questions about their judgment and intentions. The data that Hayes copied did not remain secret for long. Soon after, the information was leaked online, making sensitive details about the voting machines publicly available. This included security configurations and passwords, which could potentially be exploited by bad actors. The leak created a national risk for all jurisdictions using similar Dominion machines, as it exposed vulnerabilities that could be targeted in future elections. In response, Colorado's Secretary of State was forced to take drastic action. The entire inventory of Mesa County's voting equipment had to be decertified and replaced, a process that cost taxpayers over $1 million. This was not just a financial burden, it also disrupted local election preparations and eroded public trust in the system. What began as a local security breach in a single Colorado county quickly escalated into a national election security crisis. News outlets across the country reported on the incident, and election officials everywhere were forced to reevaluate their own security protocols in light of what had happened in Mesa County. The breach was not just a violation of protocol, it was a direct threat to the integrity of the voting process itself. When the public's confidence in the security of elections is shaken, the very foundation of democracy is put at risk. Every step in the chain of custody for election equipment is critical, and any lapse can have serious consequences. Peters' actions set off a chain reaction, with consequences that rippled far beyond Colorado. The Mesa County breach became a cautionary tale for election officials nationwide, highlighting the importance of strict security protocols and the dangers posed by even a single lapse in judgment. The breach triggered an immediate and far-reaching investigation, sending shockwaves through Mesa County's government offices and the broader election security community. Law enforcement agencies mobilized quickly, aware that the integrity of the county's election systems and public trust were at stake. The investigation began when Mesa County staff made a startling discovery. Their system passwords, meant to be tightly guarded, had been posted online for anyone to see. Sensitive documents and confidential information were suddenly exposed, raising urgent questions about how such a breach could have happened. Colorado's Secretary of State, working alongside the FBI and digital forensic experts, traced the breach back to a critical event: the May 2021 Trusted Build, a routine update of the county's election equipment. This update, intended to enhance security, instead became the focal point of the investigation. Investigators pored over hours of security camera footage and combed through digital records. The evidence they gathered pointed to Tina Peters, the county's elected clerk, as the orchestrator of the breach. Her actions, they alleged, were deliberate and calculated. Peters was accused of misleading her own staff, abusing her authority as clerk, and allowing unauthorized individuals to access secure election equipment, actions that violated both county policy and state law. The breach was not a simple mistake, but a series of intentional decisions. A grand jury reviewed the evidence and indicted Peters on multiple felony charges, including conspiracy, identity theft, and official misconduct. The charges reflected the seriousness of the breach and the potential consequences for election security. The prosecution, led by Mesa County's Republican district attorney, argued that Peters had not only broken the law, but had also betrayed the public's trust in the democratic process. They emphasized that no one, regardless of position, is above the law. The all-Republican county board, joined by officials from both parties, unanimously requested her prosecution. Their decision underscored a rare moment of bipartisan agreement on the importance of election security and accountability. The fallout was immediate and costly. Mesa County faced over $1 million in expenses to replace compromised equipment and restore public confidence. Voters, meanwhile, were left questioning the safety of their ballots and the reliability of their local government. Ultimately, the case became a high-profile test of whether election officials could be held accountable for violating the very laws they are sworn to uphold, a question with implications far beyond Mesa County. In 2024, Tina Peters stood trial. The prosecution presented evidence of her role in the breach. The defense claimed she was a whistleblower. The jury found her guilty on 7 counts, including 4 felonies. The verdict sent a clear message: personal beliefs do not justify breaking election laws. Judge Matthew Barrett sentenced Peters to 9 years in prison, citing her lack of remorse and defiance. Colorado officials called the sentence fair and necessary to deter future misconduct. The Republican district attorney emphasized that Peters' choices had real-world costs for the county. The legal chapter closed in Colorado, but the national debate was just beginning. Peters' conviction became a flashpoint in the ongoing battle over election integrity. Tina Peters' conviction caught the attention of former President Donald Trump. Trump and his supporters recast her as a political prisoner, ignoring the jury's findings. In 2025, Trump publicly demanded her release, calling her a brave and innocent patriot. He threatened harsh measures if she wasn't freed, though he left those measures vague. Trump's intervention was a direct challenge to Colorado's judicial authority. His rhetoric energized his base and kept election fraud claims in the spotlight. By championing Peters, Trump validated a movement convinced the 2020 election was stolen. The case became a national rallying cry for those who see the legal system as weaponized against them. Despite Trump's demands, he has no legal power to free Tina Peters. Peters was convicted in Colorado State Court for violating state laws. The president's clemency powers only apply to federal crimes, not state convictions. Only Colorado's governor can pardon or commute her sentence, and there's no sign he will. Trump's threats to intervene are political theater, not legal reality. His administration's DOJ review of her case is symbolic, not binding on state courts. Any federal attempt to override Colorado's verdict would trigger a constitutional crisis. Trump's demands are best understood as political messaging, not actionable authority. The limits of presidential power are clear. Peters' fate rests with Colorado, not Washington. Tina Peters' case has split the country into two camps. Her supporters, including Trump, see her as a whistleblower punished for exposing corruption. They argue her sentence is meant to silence dissent and intimidate others. On the other side, Colorado officials and legal experts see her as a public servant who broke the law and endangered election security. They point to the bipartisan prosecution and the local jury as proof the case wasn't a partisan witch hunt. For them, her sentence is a just consequence for betraying public trust. The debate over Peters is a microcosm of America's larger struggle over truth, accountability, and democracy. Her story forces us to confront the line between whistleblowing and criminal conspiracy. Even after her conviction, Tina Peters remains defiant. She shows no remorse, insisting she's a victim of a corrupt system. Peters continues to promote election fraud claims on right-wing platforms, becoming a martyr for her supporters. Her legal team is appealing, and her story fuels fundraising and activism among those convinced the system is rigged. For state officials, her ongoing defiance is troubling, a rejection of the rule of law and a threat to public trust. Peters' refusal to accept the verdict deepens the divide over election integrity. Her case highlights the challenge of accountability in an era of alternate realities. The Tina Peters saga is a test of American democracy. It shows the importance of trust in elections and the officials who run them. Her prosecution by a Republican DA and conviction by a local jury prove that no one is above the law. Yet political efforts to delegitimize the verdict reveal the pressures on our judicial system. Peters' story is a warning about the dangers of misinformation and conspiracy theories. The case forces us to ask, how do we protect elections from both outside and insider threats? The answers will shape the future of American democracy.